Hey nerds, here's some quick tips for dealing with the ruby beams. Anything we can do to clean up Mythic, make things a little bit easier, keep more people alive as we get into phase 2 is going to make life a little bit simpler for us. So on this first clip, you'll see the DH gets it up there at the top of the screen. And he does a pretty good job here. He kind of does the little circle method, and he makes sure he runs it over itself. And he, for the most part, keeps it in a pretty well contained patch. It's still, you can move around it. Bottom right, we have someone targeted. He had to move because of orbs, but basically does the same thing. Kind of runs it over itself, kind of creates a little bit of another second fire patch down there. It's a little bit out of the way, opposite side of the room. Is it perfect? No, but good enough. And then our third beam here gets run along the side of the wall. Does a good job of, keeping it out of the way again as they move into the next room. Now, moving on to the fifth room, we see it gets targeted on someone here who moves out of it initially, carries it back over itself, does the circle loop all along the side of the room. Really good job there. That's pretty strong. And then it gets on the monk. And as we talked about the other night, he just sits there and eats it. He just owns it. Probably popped a little defensive damage reduction. He maybe not even needed to. As the healer, he can just focus himself and heal right through it. We have a similar move here. We can see someone at the top of the screen. They actually, I think it's a boomkin. He's actually just stops and starts healing himself until he couldn't anymore, and then he moves out of it. Right. So he stood in there as long as he could, and then moved out of it when it became too difficult. It's on the monk again, so he just sits there and heals through it. So you can see those patches just relatively took up pretty much no space throughout in that phase. Moving to the fifth room, we see it's on the shaman, pops a defensive and just owns it. Once again, keeps things simple. Next beam goes up, top of the screen to the right of the screen, runs it along the wall for a little bit to stay away from the orb, but then took a couple ticks, moved again, basically just stood there when he could, moved when he had to. Now this is a really good one. I like this one a lot. You can see all the range are to the outside of the room to bait it away. This monk gets marked, he moves to the side, moves it back over itself. He happens to get targeted again, does the same thing, just moves in the opposite direction. Now, Flames of Punishment are going out, so he has to get in, but he still had the beam on him. But you see how he took that nice wide route to get in? That allowed him to stay safe and didn't just completely destroy the room. Are there flames? There's fire patches in the middle? Yeah, but it's workable. He kept himself alive in a situation that, while it's not ideal, was definitely manageable. He didn't go straight in because that would have took the fire into the boss. He took that wide route, which allowed it to disperse. Now, once again, we have this boomkin, does a nice job of putting it along the side of the wall there. Next one does the same thing on the opposite side, stays along the wall with it, wraps it up over itself, and comes back in for Flames of Punishment just in time. It was close, but he did a good job. And then real quick, while we're here, while we're watching some of these clips, we can see liquid gold drop. I know I mentioned it at the start of the raid, but figured I'd just show it here real quick. See how the DH goes way up there. The warrior could have gone a little further, but he got it high up there before he jumps back in, use movement ability. Why is that important? Well, surging gold. With surging gold, basically all of these patches grow in size, and this is what the room looks like. And so if our gold placement is not strong, we literally have nowhere to stand. This guild gets a kill with only the size of the boss's hitbox basically left. And everything, people have to keep constantly running out onto the gold to survive. And you can see people, or to get mechanics out, and people just constantly dropping. So, it should be fun.